Subcommittee will come to order. Without objection, all members may have 5 days to submit statements, questions, and extraneous materials for the record, subject to the length of the limitation rules of the subcommittee. I will proceed with the opening statement, then we'll have the ranking member and the other committee members make comments as well. There are a lot of things we don't know about the Benghazi attack that killed Americans, including our Ambassador, Chris Stevens. During her testimony before Congress earlier this year, Secretary Clinton responded to questioning over the cause of the attack of Benghazi by saying, quote, "What difference at this point does it make?" It does make a difference. It makes a difference to the victims' families who want justice, and it also makes a difference to the United States. Understanding why the attack happened does matter. We must respond to any type of violent attack that occurs against Americans, no matter where it is, when it's a terrorist attack. The morning after the Benghazi attack, I said it on the House floor that this was a terrorist attack. Everyone, including the administration, now knows and recognizes that this was a terrorist attack. I do look forward to hearing from the witnesses today about what the security environment in Libya was like, what it was like before the attack, what terrorist groups in Libya were there at the time. Was there any indication that a terrorist attack was probable against Americans? What was the response of other governments with embassies in Libya to the threat of the terrorist group? And what is the American response? And has it been any different since the days of the attack? The security environment in Libya after the attack is also important to understand. An FBI team was on the ground in Libya investigating, but supposedly it wasn't even safe for them to spend much time in Benghazi to determine what happened. I don't know how they plan to capture those responsible if they can't go to the area where the perpetrators act. At this late date, with all the intelligence that the United States has at its disposal, do we know the persons that committed these murders? If we do know who they are, why aren't they in custody? I've heard from journalists who have traveled to Benghazi that the identities of at least some of the attackers are known, as is their whereabouts. One of them openly drank coffee every morning in the same cafe after the attack. So why has no one been brought to justice, not even at this date? The idea that 4 Americans can die on sovereign U.S. soil and almost a year later no one has been held accountable is contrary to what we stand for in this nation. The United States is the most powerful nation in the world. Are we afraid to arrest those who take out or who commit terrorist acts against the United States? There must be consequences for killing Americans. If there isn't consequences, that just encourages terrorists to act even more. Terrorists will grow more daring in their attacks and put more Americans in danger if no consequences from the United States occur. They should know, all terrorists should know, that they cannot kill Americans and get away with it. As a former judge, I believe that at the courthouse there should be justice, and justice should continue, and the long arm of American justice should reach to areas where Americans are murdered by terrorists. We know what happened in Libya did not stay in Libya. In May, this subcommittee held a joint hearing on the growing crisis in the African region. Arms which the administration apparently allowed to be smuggled to extremist hands during the Libyan revolution found their way into terrorist hands throughout the region in North Africa. It wasn't long before Mali was overrun with terrorists and the French had to come in and prevent the whole country from collapsing. It soon spread to Algeria when on January 16, 2013, an al-Qaeda-linked Islamic militant group called Those Who Sign in Blood took nearly 800 people hostage at the gas plant in Algeria. After a tense 4-day hostage standoff, Algerian special forces raided the facility in an effort to free the hostages, and more than 80 people, including 3 Americans, were killed. These Americans were killed for who they were, because they were Americans. There are many unanswered questions that remain. Why did the United States not take direct action to protect American interests and American citizens? 3 Americans died. I've been told that American forces were within a few miles of the facility, ready to assist in the rescue, but were told to stand down. Is this true? And if so, why? Why did we allow the safety of citizens to of our citizens to depend on the acts of another country? And why haven't we responded or held anyone accountable for these murders that took place in January? Today we have with us the brother of one of those victims. Mike Lovelady is here with his family, including his wife Wanda and Victor's wife Maureen and their family as well. I want to thank the Lovelady family for being here today, and we are all sorry for the loss of a loved one, and let you know that Victor and the other victims from the Algeria attack will not be forgotten, and it is our hope that we find out who committed these murders and hold them accountable. But I do want to thank the Lovelady family for coming in from Texas to be here today. The mastermind behind the deadly attack was allegedly an Algerian militant named Mokhtar Belmokhtar. He claimed the attack was in retaliation for Algeria's support of the French military offensive against Islamist insurgents in neighboring Mali. So from Libya to Mali to Algeria, it's obvious that terrorism is running loose in North Africa. We need to learn from our lessons about these terrorist attacks. We should not push these attacks behind closed doors and pretend just to move on down the road. The families of the 4 American victims in Benghazi have not moved on. The Loveladies have not moved on. The FBI investigation has not moved on at all. And the United States Congress should not move on until we have answers about what happened in Benghazi and what happened in Algeria, not until we have justice. I will now turn over to the ranking member, Mr. Sherman, for his opening statements.